have gone low because a majority of young people, the productive age, is engaged into alcohol. If you looked at the recent statistics, you see that Karamoja region is lagging behind, West Nile region is lagging behind. And when you look at what are the dynamics within the society, you notice that these are areas with low productivity, but also a lot of people, especially the young and all walks of life, are engaged into alcohol consumption, and there is a strong relationship between alcohol consumption and the low productivity that is giving us high poverty levels in these areas. Not only poverty, look at the hunger. We don't have enough food in some of these areas, and it also relates to productivity. The young people are into the trading centers and they are consuming a lot of alcohol. The following day, they don't have energy to really do productive work in the farms. And that is a big problem to us as a country, and there's need to do something about it.
Okay, back to Juliet. Last year, Honorable Sarah Opendi tabled a private bill about the alcohol drinks control bill. Is it really needed?
Um, the alcoholic drinks control bill is long overdue. I've told you about the status of alcohol use in Uganda. Last year, 2 years ago, Uganda Alcohol Policy Alliance conducted a study of alcohol use in Uganda, and the results are concerning. Moses talked about poverty. Actually, the highest alcohol consumers in the nation rate highly in poverty. When we look at cases of gender-based violence in the country, there is a lot of relation with alcohol. Cases of traffic accidents, road accidents, there is a lot of relationship. Recently, we had a study on cancer in Uganda and alcohol relations. Again, it is highly related. So we need the law to do 3 things as summarized for us by Uganda Alcohol Policy Alliance. 1, to protect Ugandans from alcohol-related harm. To prevent underage drinking. This study showed that over 50% of the underage, of the below 18, they are already using alcohol, and that is a big problem. Uganda has such a young population, and we cannot allow our children to be there. Access alcohol freely. So there is need for regulation in terms of the availability. We see that there's so much advertisement and promotion of alcohol. So our children are told that alcohol is the thing, and yet there is so much harm. So all that needs to be regulated. He talked about poverty. Our people drink 24/7, and yet we are a nation that is dependent on aid. So we need to promote economic development. So we need this bill in place.
Well, thank you so much, Juliet. Back to Moses. Your main focus as an organization is fighting poverty. What other activities are you engaged in, or do you engage in, and how do you see this bill promoting your efforts?
Thank you very much, viewers. As an organization, we're engaged into a number of activities. We're engaged into creating awareness about the problem, generally alcohol harm, to see that we can prevent alcohol harm within the local communities and generally in the country, and also to ensure that there is proper regulation when it comes to alcohol abuse. One of the key activities that we are very proud of is that we have supported regulation in forms of ordinances, in form of bylaws within the communities and the districts where we operate. Through that, we are able to see a number of changes, a number of responses, and I must say that we have brought on board cultural leaders, religious leaders, local leaders and people of different walks of life. And through that, we have engaged, including other stakeholders like schools, into awareness creation through drama skits and music. It is actually very impactful, and we saw that there is a willingness from the community. And just to mention, the media has been one of our platforms where we use the local radios and other media houses to create awareness, because most of the stakeholders don't have all the facts of what is happening on the ground. So awareness creation is really working alongside policy engagements at different levels with all the stakeholders concerned.
Back to you, Juliet. Isn't this bill going to infringe on people's rights and responsibility?
Actually, this bill is going to ensure that people enjoy their rights. For example, when we look at the children who are some of the major victims of alcohol use, there is a right to education, which parents are not offering because they are into drinking. They spend their money on that, and when it comes to school fees, they cannot pay. So many children are staying at home, and therefore loading it on the government through universal primary education. So the right to education, the right to shelter, the right to food protection. Some of these children have suffered immensely at the hands of their parents. Some of our children are exposed to gender-based violence, and we are saying that right needs to be protected. I mean, talked about GBV. Lately, in a place like Agago, it is not only the women whose rights are infringed on. Now the women are also infringing on the rights of men because the women are taken to drinking. So there is a right to protection. I believe that is at the center of this. And we'd like you to know that alcohol is a public health issue, and we have a right to education. But also the government owes it to Ugandans to protect us even from ourselves. So we need the bill.
Definitely. Well, Moses, most of the alcohol taken in Uganda is not regulated, and this is a poor man's business, or maybe a woman with low levels of education. And with this bill, will it not make the situation worse? Because we're looking at it as people's different businesses. How will they survive, those who are selling the alcohol?
Oh, thank you very much. On the contrary, this bill will help the people in this country in different ways. The unregulated alcohol, which is being produced in these communities, is actually what is entrenching our people into deeper levels of poverty. And when we look at it as something that is coming in for regulation, I see a lot of opportunities that are coming in for the Ugandan community. I want to draw your attention to part of our work that we have done within Pader, Abim, and Agago areas, that when we engaged into preventive measures for alcohol abuse, we're able to save some families who were using all their produce into alcohol. One, they were making it, but they themselves were abusing alcohol. So at the end of the day, they were losing the productivity within the home. They didn't have food security. And Julia talked about GBV. Through GBV, we saw some of them getting into assaults, but a majority of them contracted HIV and AIDS, among other illnesses. So by regulating this, we have seen those through our action against alcohol abuse, we have seen them become more productive, having more produce in their homes, both for consumption but also for sale. We have seen a case in Adilan, that is in Pader, where a family that was suffering because they got HIV/AIDS through the process of GBV and abuse of alcohol. They had multiple partners they were sleeping with, but we managed to restore them into a positive life. they started taking the drugs, and now they are living a fruitful life, and they're very productive. Their children have been able to go to school. So what are we saying today, our viewers? That this bill will come and help our people to be productive. We have a lot of young people who are accessing alcohol, even in the young ages when they are at school. And this is affecting the learning processes for these children. And this is the generation we're looking at. So we see this bill as an opportunity to help our Ugandans to be more productive, both in school and in communities. So this bill for us is what we need to keep our country very productive and reduce the vulnerabilities we have in our communities today.
Okay, well, I'm going to get back to Juliet. Well, many Ugandans do not see alcohol as a problem. What are you doing to ensure that you get their buy-in?
Thank you so much. Now, the biggest problem that we have in Uganda is the normalization of alcohol, because when we grow up, we see alcohol and it is around us. Yeah. So one of the things that we are doing, we are creating awareness, and part of what we are doing here today is to tell Ugandans that alcohol is a problem. It is a lead cause in cancer, a lead cause in gender-based violence, a lead cause in poverty. And we who are looking at the Sustainable Development Goals, actually alcohol is linked to 14 of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. So we have mobilized our members. We are part of Uganda Alcohol Policy Alliance. And one of the things that we are doing is we are creating awareness through radio talk shows, TV programs. We are going to community levels. We have engaged faith actors. We have also involved the cultural leaders. We are telling people, let us look at alcohol for what it really is. We are deceived that it is generating a lot of revenue. But we keep telling ourselves that alcohol gives you money with one hand and takes it with another hand plus a leg. In other words, it leaves you in a worse situation than it found you. And that's why we need regulation. And by the way, as we talk about regulation, people have been told that we are coming to stop, or we are appealing for the government to stop people's rights for taking alcohol. No, we are not saying people should stop taking alcohol. We are looking at regulation. You can't wake up in the morning and take alcohol from morning to evening. Sure. No, we can't have alcohol everywhere. We should protect our children. And that's what we are talking about. And again, the 18-year-olds should not be taking alcohol. We are pushing it. We are advocating for a push to 21 years of age to protect our children as they develop. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Juliet. Back to Moses. Well, we believe Uganda's problem is not lack of laws and policies, but implementation is the pursuit on this law and waste of time, because chances of its implementation seem so slim given the love of alcohol in our society. What did you say about that?
Well, I would say that is the rhetoric, but when you engage with the masses, those who are faced with the problem of alcohol, you'll see the different picture. And I think a lot of focus has been put on legislation, the legislators, but I must say that if you engage on day-to-day basis to a common Ugandan who is faced with the challenge, you notice that there is a lot of opportunity, there is a lot of willingness to engage in this, and I believe that implementation is possible, because if you believe in governance, we say the government is by the people, for the people. So who are the people? Who is the government? It is you and me. And it is the common man down there in the community who is faced with this. So if you interact closely with them, you will see that they are really urging that, why can't we have these problems solved? I know there are also those who see their children really suffering, and they're quiet, and they're looking for who can speak about this. who can be our change agent in the community. So, dear viewers, I must share a few things. Today, as we speak, we have even engaged with cultural leaders. And what are they saying? Alcohol, which is a norm in our African society, they are saying we want it regulated because it is no longer being consumed within the confines of how culture dictated. Today we have people waking up in the morning, the first thing is alcohol. We are not saying that don't consume alcohol, but we say let's be productive and have a time for leisure and have alcohol. I was actually shocked when the time expatriates from the Asian communities came here to train our farmers on rice growing. They told us, we are shocked to see that early in the morning, people are into leisure. They said, this cannot happen. Where we come from, this is not possible. People must have a time to be productive in the farms. After being productive in the farms, later in the evening, you can have leisure and have a time also to go back to look at your family and be productive to the family. Your family also needs attention. So that's the kind of society and regulation and the communities are urging, including the cultural leaders, the spiritual leaders, and those affected by the alcohol abuse program. So, dear listeners, we are not saying stop consumption of alcohol, but regulation is possible, and the communities have a willingness, and they're crying that let us regulate the alcohol within our communities. And not only the communities, including the leaders themselves. The leaders themselves are seeing, because they're the ones who are called to respond to some of the challenges.
Okay, thank you so much. Well, Juliet, as you're giving out your last remarks, would you like to give a message to the people? And then as you're doing all that, kindly thank your partners and whoever that has been able to help this move.
Thank you so much. It's been nice having you, interacting with you regarding the need for regulation in Uganda. As LM International, we are committed to this. And I'll also speak on behalf of UAPA. We are mobilizing everyone to go out there. Let us support this bill. It is about regulation, guiding Ugandans, protecting us, preventing alcohol, underage drinking, protecting us from the harm, but also promoting economic development. We thank you so much, and we appreciate our funders, our mother organization, Elakamihunen, LM International, Latter-day Saints, the charity arm, for the work that they are supporting us to do among the churches, but also the network of Uganda Alcohol Policy Alliance that is empowering us and equipping us to learn more about the harm regarding alcohol.
Well, back to Moses. As you're also giving out your conclusion, kindly don't forget to share your location, website, or the toll-free line in case somebody would like more information.
Thank you so much.
Your last message to the public and to the government as well.
I want to thank the viewers for listening. I also want to thank the government of Uganda for creating an enabling environment for engagement, and also all our partners who are supporting us when it comes to awareness creation. Without withstanding, we want to recognize the media, the different radio stations that we promote our work in terms of awareness creation. I would like to thank the cultural leaders and all other stakeholders who have worked with us this path to see that our communities are better and are safe in terms of lifestyle, which is not abusive to alcohol. LM International or LMI Uganda, we are located in Ntinda, Stretcher Road on your way to Ntinda Center. We're on Africa Bank of Africa building. That's where you'll get us. Our website is www.lminternational.org.
Okay, thank you very much, Moses. Well, as we are coming to the end of the show, I would like Julia to give your appeal to the public or the government.
My appeal actually goes to the members of parliament. You are the ones who are deciding on this. This is a private member's bill. We need you to be there on that day when the bill is being debated, but also vote, because I believe you do not want a poor community. And also for the members, read what this bill is all about so that you are not deceived. Thank you so much. Thank you, Uganda.
Okay, thank you so much. It was really nice having you on the show. It's really been a pleasure. Well, that's it. Thank you for staying us throughout the show. And please remember, living a safe life is your right and responsibility. I am Kathy Ishimia on Safe Life.
UBC